Hey guys, it's Custa here, and I'm coming at you with a new unique video. We have the Overwatch 2 embargo being lifted. The guys is finally off on Overwatch 2, and I can talk about it. I can finally talk about the things that I've been able to play, but also the things that I've been able to watch. I've been very fortunate to be able to get into Overwatch League scrims and be able to see what these teams are doing and how they've been trying to work out the game. And I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, not talk about the teams or the specifics of anything that I've seen, just give you sort of a general roadmap for where we are 2 weeks out from the Overwatch League and what you should really expect, because it is chaotic, it is a new game, and there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors of what's been happening. So I just kind of want to clear things up in a really short video. If you're watching the gameplay right now, this is not Overwatch League video, as you can probably imagine. This is actually Jaw's video. He's playing DPS, he's playing a bit of Sojourn, bit of everything else. Just sort of give you something to look at instead of looking at my ugly face. But it would be my gameplay because I did get to play and I did get to record it. But you guys would be shocked to believe this, but I accidentally deleted all my Overwatch 2 footage that I played when I was clearing out my computer. So I'm stupid, first off, we all agree. But now you get to watch Jaws play DPS, which is infinitely better. Well, probably not, than my DPS. So, but let me get into it. Let me just talk about the little things that I want to talk about with the meta. Where do we stand right now? How has Overwatch 2 and 5v5 changed the game? So, first of all, the game is a lot faster and a lot more open, like we all expected with this change. There isn't that second tank to be able to slow everything down, to be able to peel, to be able to do that kind of stuff. So that's really enabled and sort of made these dive and faster comps that much more effective. So let me talk about the metas of where I think we're at right now. It all started when the game first came out and everyone was able to play Overwatch 2. Sojourn was dumb busted. Her numbers were way too high. She was actually bugged, and her circle slow actually did 60% more damage than it was supposed to do. And for that reason, it just made it so oppressive. Sojourn's damage numbers were a little bit higher. I think her hit reg was a little bit stronger, so she was being played a lot alongside Zarya, whose beam damage was ignoring armor, so she was just the best tank. And then Reaper was actually also really strong in the meta, and everyone was playing this like Lucio Moira rush style of playing the game, and it was just very impressive. Everyone was playing that, and it was just because it was just so much damage. You just run at your opponents, and it made it very hard to do anything else. And I want to go on a tangent here, because I love to go on tangents, about double flex support, because there was a lot of rumors about people being like, oh, double flex support is just going to be the best thing. Everyone's just going to play Zen Baptiste everywhere. That's actually not the case. Because of how fast the game is, it's actually gone in the opposite direction of flex supports are actually heavily struggling, because it's almost impossible to protect your backline. So people are preferring to play these more survivable backlines, your Lucios, your Moiras, even like Ana to a degree, because you're able to protect each other and stay alive and move with the team. Because if you try and play these very stagnant, high mechanically skilled heroes, you can actually get overrun by the DPS and the tanks quite easily, because you don't have that second tank as support to sort of hold that line. So that's what enabled this first meta, which was like the Zarya, Reaper, Sojourn rush. But we've actually had an interesting thing over the last couple of months that sort of splintered everything into this, like, teams really play what they're best at, and that seems like a well, duh. But it's actually been really cool to see how certain teams have decided what they think is good, what they think is bad, and how it's constantly changing. There is no one meta fits all right now, but there are three pretty predominant comps from what it looks like right now. There is obviously iterations of all of these, but I'm just going to talk about the three usual ones. The first one is the rush and the brawl. Once the Zarya, the Reaper, and the Sojourn got nerfed, we actually went into a pretty traditional brawl/rush style, which is like your Reinhardt, your Lucio with a Mei, and then you just sort of run at your teammates. You play that 5-man group style, obviously very good on maps like Lijiang Tower. Same thing is being played. You put the Symmetra in there sometimes to teleport around. Sometimes you play like a soldier to flank, a tracer. You play a Sombra. You can really mix and match. You can play a Baptiste. You can play a Moira. You can mix and match with your brawl a little bit, but for the most part, it all stayed the same. You just don't have that second off tank, but you're running together as a unit. No real surprise. That was to be expected. One thing that I wasn't expecting as of much is there is actually a stagnant style comp that is still being played by certain teams on certain points. Anywhere where there's a defensible point, which is less ever since 2CP got deleted from the game. Thank you, Papa Jeff / Aaron. There's not as many defensible points, but where there are, kind of think of like the new Monaco map, right? With that spiral up the road. If you can get up there and you can set up double flex support with the Sigma in the front line with the shield, it can actually be really effective with that high damage compositions. You play like a long range hit scan, like an Ashe, like a Widow, maybe even a Sojourn if it makes sense. And then you play that high damage compositions, you hold that choke, you make it impossible for you to be effectively dove. So that composition is still being there. That's kind of like a bunker double shield type thing with less shields, which makes it less oppressive and unfun to play against, but it is still very strong, and you kind of have to come out with your own high damage compositions or counter it with the dive. The last composition, which is the one that I think is just like, it reminds me of the heart and soul of like Overwatch 1 dive in like 2016, 2017. It is the dive compositions, and we see some really interesting iterations of this. We've seen actually a lot of rise of Doomfist coming out into the meta. Doomfist with his seismic slam, which actually he can jump in any direction, is able to jump effectively and move around the map very fast, and almost does like Winston-esque style of diving. So Doomfist has kind of replaced Winston. We don't see a lot of Winston, sometimes on like Gibraltar or Dorado, but for the most part, I've seen a lot more Doomfist being played in that role. D.Va's obviously pretty solid in these dive metas, very versatile, very consistent, but has slowly been starting to get edged out in the metas. And then, the dive heroes are the ones you would expect. Sombra has been strong, not super oppressive as some people might have speculated, but still quite strong. Tracer is obviously always going to be very good, but actually took a pretty heavy-handed nerf in the last like month, where her primary fire was actually reduced pretty significantly, and she hasn't been getting as much playtime. Surprising to see a bit of Genji, seen a bit of Echo here and there. Everyone's really trying out a lot of different things, and it's kind of all over the place. But with that dive style, you are playing that Lucio and a lot of Ana, honestly, to give you that nano boost to either nano the Genji, nano the Doomfist, nano whoever you really want. And I think one thing that's worth like sort of capping off what I'm talking about here is you need to remember that ultimates charge way slower in Overwatch 2, and that is a big thing of what depends on the meta as well. All ultimates are being heavily slowed down. I think you probably get them 30 to 40% slower. You're not farming your heals or damage off of a second tank. I think they also did a flat reduction. So ultimates are more valuable, but also seem to be having less impact in the game, because you're not just going into every team fight with 3 ultimates and everyone's just pressing Q. And then you either have an ultimate or you don't. So it feels like the game is more open and free flowing in the neutral style. So heroes that have a better neutral game are better than characters that have, revolve around an ultimate, which is one of the reasons I was very surprised to see a lot of Genji in these scrims. So it is all up in the air. I didn't want to go too in depth about everything, about what to expect, all the little nitty gritty things, because, I want to keep these teams' secrets safe. And, in 2 weeks, we'll find it out ourselves. But I wanted to answer like a lot of the questions of like, how is the game being played at this point? I hope I answered some of your questions. I hope you put your mind at ease. I'm going to be talking about this a lot more on stream. I just didn't want to make a 4-hour YouTube video of me talking about all the little things that I learned in Overwatch 2. So here's my crash course. If you guys want to talk more, come to my Twitch channel. I might be uploading more in-depth speculation and analysis of myself onto YouTube in the future. So make sure to hit that notification bell, and I'll be uploading more Overwatch 2 content soon. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think the meta is going to be in Overwatch 2. And I promise you, if you comment, you have like a 90% more chance to get into the beta. That's not true. I lied to you. But please leave me a like, leave me a comment. I love you all, and I'm excited to play Overwatch 2. You should be too. It's so much fun playing the game. Everything about it is so much better, and we finally have some content. You should be excited. Love you all. I'll see you guys next time. So I I realized that the gameplay actually goes for a little bit longer. So I decided I'm just gonna add me here at the end, and we're just gonna make fun of Jaws and playing DPS. So they almost feel held until they didn't. I don't want to say Jaws is the problem, but I think it might have been his fault. So let's just really see what Jaws can get done. He's walking down this left flank, obviously a nice little spot. Jaws decides better of it. No, it actually is going to go down the left flank. Oh, it's exciting. Okay, Jaws, close. Wasn't really close, but hey, you know, Jaws is trying. And I think that's the most important thing going into Overwatch 2 is that we support our teammates who try really hard. Because, you know, I'm going to do it with Jaws at some point, and I'm going to make sure he feels encouraged. Okay, Jaws is actually not going to compete in this team fight. He's decided he's just going to move on. Get ready for the next one. I'm sure he'll be able to touch the point here. Okay.